Hey, all you prominent bards and bardettes, welcome back to I Cast Vicious Mockery.
A show about surmounting struggles, facing adversaries,
And climbing mountains emotionally.
Not usually. We don't usually talk about stuff like that, but I'm Matt.
And I'm your guru, Austin.
Ooh, guru.
I'm not actually a guru.
Well,
no, that's like a particular thing, and I'm not that.
No.
That's not me.
no, that's not you. Hey, I was telling Austin about a great bit I came up with. I'm going to pitch it right now.
Okay.
To the audience.
Tell me about this. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this bit where it's like a romance movie.
Let's set this.
Yeah.
Let's set the scene a little bit here.
basket.
So
yeah.
we're talking a Hallmark movie. Is it a Christmas movie?
Yeah, probably.
This is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it's like Christmas Hallmark.
It's My Christmas Prince.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Definitely, it's one of those Prince ones.
Yep.
So this is a movie wherein
It's got to be one of the Hallmark ones where the girl
right
is the small town Christmas loving girl. And
well, she was when she was a kid, but like lately she's been so focused on her business in the big city.
The guy.
Oh, the guy is
because they do that sometimes.
Okay. I like this.
Too.
I like this. We can make this work.
It makes more sense in the context of what happens, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, she's like a small town Christmas loving girl, and the guy from the big city he gets snowed in.
This is like some You Got Mail stuff. Anyway.
Yeah. And then they fall in love. Yeah, but
he doesn't like. He doesn't know how to express it yet, right? Like he doesn't know how to outwardly appreciate her,
right?
And he's kind of like he feels the spark, she feels the spark. He doesn't, do anything about it, and he's kind of letting her slip away.
Right?
Is that how this is going so far?
Yeah, he's letting her slip away, and then like a lot of tension happens. There's some character development. Probably not. I don't think there's usually
not really
development in
that's
those
not
movies.
Necessary for this.
Yeah, probably. Okay. So and then like right toward the end, it's the final boarding call for the flight back to big city, and the camera pans
to his ticket. He's holding it.
Yep.
And he's like waiting there, but then
smash cut.
Yeah.
Like cut away to her sitting, looking forlornly out the window with a cup of hot cocoa in her hands by a fireplace.
Yeah.
Indoors. There's a knock.
I did this sound effect too.
Yep. Okay. Open the door. It's
the Kool-Aid man.
It's Grandpa. Yeah. It's like it's like whatever, right? They have like a conversation about how
it's a me.
Yeah. Mario. They have like a short conversation. And she's like, it's okay. He had to go back to the big city, Grandpa leaves. But as he opens the door to leave, who's standing there? Oh man.
It's
big city
boy
guy.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Okay. And he sits down and he starts, and he like holds on to her hands and looks her deep in the eyes.
He's like still not sure if she's into him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But
because I mean, in a small town, if a girl gives you a cookie, you're married. But in a city, if a girl gives you a cookie, it's laced.
She expects 12 cookies in return.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's laced. So he's risking it all for this big move. Like this might not work out for him, right? In his mind. I mean,
she offers him a cookie first again, I'm sure.
Right. And we all know.
Yeah.
Like we all know, but he's risking it all, right?
Right.
He gets down on his knees and he says, you are the love of my life. I want to, right. Like he just,
what a reveal.
Like right out the gate.
Yeah.
With it, you know?
Yeah.
And he starts talking like, oh, I want to spend all the rest of my days with you, you know, when I, you know, rather than being in my stuffy corporate office, I want to be here. And even if I don't have,
I want to clean up dog pee off the carpet with you.
Right. Yeah. Like
I want to,
yeah. He's like all the struggles, like, yeah. Right. I want to watch our child barf on your shirt and then, you know, like, you know, like all that mush.
All the normal mushy stuff.
Like I'm not good at coming up with these on the spot, but like he starts doing all the mushy, like romantic stuff. And you know, she's got her hand over her mouth and she, you know, she's holding back tears.
And she's like, technically we're married now.
Right,
I think.
Right. Like she's eating it. Like she's like getting.
She's ready for this.
Really, but he like keeps going. You know, he keeps saying stuff, and he starts getting into stuff like, I want to know the street you grew up on. I want to know your mother's maiden name. I want to know all about where you went to high school, what your favorite song was when you were 15. I want to know. I want to know the last 4 digits of your social security number. Actually, make that the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I want all 16 digits of your credit card information and the 3 on the back. Like he just starts like trying to steal her identity.
So have you not seen the movie You Got Mail?
No, I have not seen that movie.
All right, well, maybe watch that.
Is that what happens?
Not really.
Oh,
so
okay.
The setup there, you know, maybe I shouldn't give it away. This is spoilers.
Okay.
This is spoiler territory now.
Spoiler. Okay, well then, I don't know. Do I want to watch this movie? Maybe should I enjoy this movie spoiler free?
Do you want to watch a rom-com featuring young Tom Hanks? I think he was younger than we are now in that movie.
Oh, that's possible. He has been acting for a long time.
Yeah. And we haven't been alive for a long time.
No, not really.
Actually, that makes it less likely. It is our birthdays.
Yeah.
Like by the time this episode comes out, it'll be almost your birthday.
Yeah.
And it will have been mine.
And it will, yes. And it isn't yet your birthday, but it will have been by the time this episode.
It will have been my birthday.
Will have been your birthday.
How do you conjugate will.i.am's name?
It'll be will.i.am's birthday. Or would it be will.we.are's birthday?
I don't know. Can you conjugate it into other tenses too? Is that allowed?
Will
have I am have we are been.
Will I have been? Will I have Ben's birthday?
All right.
Will we have Ben's birthday?
Yeah. will.i.am. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. I'm glad you're a fan of the show.
If you could hit us up in our DMs
yeah.
and explain like is conjugating your name a thing that's allowed?
And I don't know if you're still tight with Fergie. But I just want to know. So if you could just tell us if you still have any communication with Fergie, that's just something I'm interested. And how's will.i.have doing? Is will.i.have okay? After the song "Pump It," I wasn't sure anymore.
Okay. I look. I don't know anything about this. This is all foreign territory to me, man.
Oh, you don't know about will.i.have from the Black Eyed Peas? He's one of the members of Black Eyed Peas.
Yeah, I definitely know all the members of Black Eyed Peas.
Cool. Those are the only 3 that I know.
Oh, wow. Okay, that was 3 more than me.
You know will.i.am.
I mean, like, that's 3 more than I know personally.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I see. Do you want some homebrew to get
I brought some homebrew.
Oh, you brought some.
I brought some homebrew.
You brought some with you today. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, look at that.
I'm holding it. I'm holding the homebrew. We got a visual aid.
He's got analog homebrew.
Tried to make a nice loud sound with it.
Oh.
Can you hear that? Can you all hear that? So I pulled out a weapon. I just happen to have a bunch of weapons in my house.
He does. It's pretty cool, actually.
It's pretty... nothing crazy. It's pretty cash. By the way, can you spell cash?
No.
Okay, yeah. My wife and I were talking about that today? Yesterday? One of these days.
Uh-huh.
We haven't figured it out. I mean, so you can spell it phonetically using the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. But it's hard to type.
I'm gonna put my number. I'm gonna put all my chips on CASU. Cash.
That looks too much like cuz.
Well, right, because if you flip the U and the S, it would be cuz. But
yeah,
CASU would be cash.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty. What do you mean that looks too much like cuz? I mean, like a lot of words are like
look
that.
Like other words. Okay, okay, but this isn't a real word, so we can't make it look like another word. No, you're right. I guess my thing that I said was kind of dumb.
I have to come back at you at that one.
But it's still like the way that you spelled it. It is 2 syllables.
Cash.
CASU. Kazu.
Cash.
Or Ksu.
Well, okay.
Kasu.
All right. Well, also
Kasu,
in the English language, a lot of words don't look anything like how they're pronounced.
That's what you think.
Have you ever seen the word yacht? Try teaching that to somebody who doesn't speak English.
YOTT?
Anyway,
okay, so I have a weapon.
Yeah.
This is called a 9-section whip chain. 9something like that. I don't know. I never learned tones in Chinese. I was really bad at that.
Yeah, I did. I was never very good at it either.
I found out there's another way of romanizing it where the tones are like built into the spelling instead of like an extra thing you remember on top.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I wish I learned that. Anyway, I just wish that was the normal way to do it.
Right.
Because I learned the normal way. Opinion. Anyway, this weapon is part chain, it's like a chain. And it's got these sections that are like solid little rods.
Like 9
and then at the end it has this dart, which on mine is not sharpened to a very pointy point, but
you don't want to hit yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, which I have knocked myself out with it. That was rough. Here's what I'm thinking with this homebrew. So this would have similar stats to a whip, right? Like do the same amount of damage and stuff.
Okay.
But as a bonus action, it gives you like a concentration spell as a fighter.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
all right.
But it wouldn't interrupt concentration either, because it's something that you're physically doing. So we can stack it with other stuff. Here's how this works. The 9-section whip chain is a weapon that you have to constantly swing around. You don't hold it like all limp this way and then
attack,
try to whip somebody.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No, you'll probably hit yourself. Instead, you spin it constantly. It's constantly spinning in a circle. You can actually see here, if you look close at the one that I have, that at the top there is like there's a bearing.
There's a bearing up there. Yeah,
the camera's not going to focus on it probably, but it was worth a try.
Yep.
So you can see that bearing though. That allows you to just keep it going in a circle, and you have to spin it all around your body and redirect it to hit somebody. It's hard to use. It's extremely hard to use.
Yeah, it's quite the skill.
Good news is, if somebody just walks into it, they're going to have a bad time. So here's what I'm thinking. You use your bonus action to begin spinning it. And then if anyone decides that they want to come within 5 feet of you, they can make a dexterity saving throw to avoid getting hit.
Okay, so it's almost like an AoE type thing.
Right.
That's passive for the cost of your bonus action.
Right. It takes a bonus action, and then you have to, obviously you have to be using this weapon. You can't, you can't use this and a short bow on the next, same turn.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to like start spinning and then take out your short bow. Although you could probably shoot with your short bow and then start this as a bonus action, but it costs a bonus action each time you start the spin.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking that if they do run into it, they take whatever damage if they fail the saving throw, and it stops spinning. So that's part of it. It stops spinning maybe unless I don't know. See, because the thing is, if you strike with it, I guess the spinning can't be part of the strike. So mechanically, it can't work exactly like how it does for real. Unless it just does a ton of damage. Now, it has this other part to it, though.
Okay.
So that's already one mechanic that it could have, which is that spinning thing. The other part of it is what knocked me out when I tried using it.
Okay.
And that is that this is a flexible weapon. Can you guys see it? It's flexible. All right, so this is a flexible weapon. And if you try to stop it by intercepting it, then the part that wraps around you when it inevitably does starts going faster. It speeds up, and it actually hits you harder if you do that. So if you try to stop it, it hits you harder. And the final location of the strike is less predictable, which is how I put my arm up to protect my face, and it wrapped around and hit me harder in the face instead, knocking me out. It was like right across my nose and cheek. I was out for a few seconds. I was like down on the ground, and I was like, oh, hey, I wasn't oriented in this direction just a second ago.
I swear I was standing just a minute ago.
I really thought so. Ow, my nose.
Yeah.
Ow. It didn't bleed though, surprisingly. I don't know what's up with that.
You have a notoriously bleedy nose.
Yeah,
so
it'll just do it.
Yeah, just like
no matter what I try to do, it will just bleed. But no, I guess this weapon does not make you bleed. That's the other part of it.
At least not.
No, but
from yeah.
I don't know about the balancing, but I think implementing some cool that's one of the most unique weapon ideas I've ever seen. And I came up with it because I was watching a Bob World Builder video. Maybe I'll link a video of his in the description here.
Yeah,
and he talked about maybe increasing your armor class while you're swinging a weapon around like this one. But I was like, wait, no, because if my armor class is up, that affects ranged attacks too and stuff like that. And maybe it's just on melee attacks. But what about who's going to stand next to me when I'm swinging this above my head, right? Like, you're going to run into it.
Yeah,
right? Or if I'm swinging it next to me or what, how are you standing there? So.
It's like the cool, skilled martial arts version of when a little kid just starts swinging their arms around and they're like, but if you run into my hands, then I didn't hit you, and it's not my fault. I'm just swinging my arms around.
That's exactly it. So I just think that's a fun idea, and I when you're making homebrew. You can use homebrew to fill in gaps. Like, there's not a finesse long sword that's two-handed, that's that kind of stuff, and you're like, all right, this particular type of weapon will homebrew it. Or you could you make a weapon that has a more unique property like that. And I think, well, I'm not saying that one way is better than the other. But I guess let's talk about advantages and disadvantages. Advantages of one way, all right, of doing it the simpler way where you're filling in a gap, right? Like, you just change the damage type from bludgeoning to piercing or stuff like that. And then you make a new weapon that fits that. That is, it's almost kind of foolproof, right? Like, it can't be that overpowered.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It fits within the framework that's already laid out, right? And I think that's part of the fun of how the rule books are in D&D specifically. Like they can't cover everything. But if you just try to stick to them, you'll already start coming up with your own ideas.
Yes. And you know, the most successful I think I've been at running a campaign, I actually have been thinking about this quite a bit recently.
Yeah.
Is that
usually when you're naked.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
When I'm naked, actually.
Sorry.
I realized that what I did was I literally took like stuff that existed, kept all of their actual stats the same, but then just like described them differently to make them seem more interesting. And that's it. And sometimes I made them like a little cooler by changing the way that they worked. Like if like
it's like selling a car.
In what way?
Well, I mean, they're all pretty much the same.
That's
like
true.
if you know, you can get a Corolla or you can get an Accord. Is the Accord the one that's equivalent to a Corolla? Civic.
Civic, yeah.
You can get a Corolla or you can get a Civic. But if you were blindfolded, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference when you crashed.
Right. Exactly. I'm glad. Yeah. Way to use the example of a car that you drive and a car that I drive.
Well, they're like the same.
They are. They're like the same. That's
I mean,
true.
ours in particular are not.
Well,
yours is I don't know, like 5 or 6 years newer, but
right. Well,
same kind of thing.
Yeah, that's just because I bought it new. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, so like I don't know. I just took like a bunch of characters from, and I've talked about this before, but characters from media that already exist, and I took like I don't know, like a soldier archetype thing from the player's handbook, like a veteran. I think it was a veteran or something. And I saw they had a javelin, and I was like, all right, well, we'll give this guy like he can throw like 3 javelins a turn, and it's because he controls them with his brain. And he doesn't actually throw them. They just appear anywhere on the map and they launch themselves at characters. So like cover doesn't matter because he can bring it out behind them and like stuff like that. Right. I was like, that's cool. And everybody thought it was dope. You know, like everybody thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, but the thing I like with the 9-section whip chain idea too is it kind of does, something like that, where you take something that kind of exists already, like a whip. You take the base stats and you're like, how can we make this more interesting? How can we make it cooler? And you've done that with other things before too.
Yeah.
Like the first game, I think it was the first game that you ever DM'd for me. You let us pick like whatever weapon we want. Like you're like, make something up and we'll figure out how the stats work. And I had an electric yo-yo.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was super cool because I like you like literally like let me do whatever I want, you know. It was cool. So I'm going back to my roots, you know. And I want to do more stuff like that, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Moving forward, where I just like to let people do whatever they want.
I think there are different points at which people would prefer to stick to the rules as written or make up their own thing. And I think what happens is you kind of, well, okay, let's look at it with something like Minecraft.
Got it.
We'll start with Minecraft. So raise your hand if you've ever played Minecraft before.
Briefly.
Yeah, exactly. Matt's played tons. I've played tons. We've all got years of experience at this, basically. Years of in-game time. Probably like 5 or 7 on my part. Maybe 8 or 10 on Matt's part. Something like that.
Probably like 8 or 10 hours. Yeah.
Really? You think that long?
Yeah. Because I did play it on the Xbox 360 a little bit. So probably up to like 8 or 10 hours.
So here's what I'm thinking, though.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, when they play Minecraft, at first play it on creative mode, or some other, similar thing at the time. Like when I started playing it, there was that web version of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still around? I wonder if it is. Anyway, there was the free web version, which is all I could play at school.
Yeah.
I mean, I could play other ones, but like you had to do stuff that was against the rules to do that, so I didn't bother. I also didn't own the game, so like, how would I have done that?
Right.
It wouldn't have mattered had I been able to sign in or try to sign in. But the web version, you basically just can put down blocks and you can break blocks and you kind of fly around. You're not even a character. You just kind of can like fly around and you build a thing. And I did. And that was fun to start with. But then I needed a little bit of a constraint on what I was doing. Mm-hmm. So I started playing it. I got the actual version, playing it on peaceful mode. So now I could interact with animals and stuff, but I was also a physical character. I couldn't just fly around. Then I needed more of a constraint, so I started playing it on a higher difficulty level. Because it was just too easy without any monsters or anything like that, running around. And that almost kind of it almost limits your creativity when you can just do whatever you want, because there's no purpose for doing any of it either. Mm-hmm. In Minecraft, at least. So like, you're not trying to survive, you're just, I don't know, build a cool shape. Which is okay to do, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like I could draw it. I could 3D model it. I could, come up with some other way to make a cool shape if I wanted to.
Right. It's more like an art project than less of a game.
Yeah. And so what about Minecraft, gives you a fun way to interact with it, with the constraints, with a set of constraints that like enhances your creativity. I mean, that's going to be going up through the difficulty levels, trying to get the achievements, trying to do the stuff in the game, like trying to make crazy automated things or whatever. That's kind of where a lot of the fun is in that game. And that's kind of how it works with D&D, I think. You start out with like, I just want to do whatever, man. All of it. Just anything that comes into my brain. And then I think a lot of people do end up deciding that they want to at least experiment with delving into some of the rules really deeply and really trying to use rigid systems to force creativity on their part.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe part of it is I'm starting to get into that realm, and some of the players are in the first realm. Mm-hmm. Maybe. So maybe that's like, though it's not even necessarily that people who are at different stages than that can't play together or have fun. But sometimes recognizing stuff like that can help.
Yeah.
Kind of guide you to how to make it fun for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The real trick of it, I think, is giving players opportunities to be creative and rewarding their creativity. Like just because being creative mm-hmm. is actually rewarding on its own.
That's true.
It feels good to, come up with a plan and execute it based on the circumstances and everything, and overcome an obstacle or whatever. That just feels good on its own. But giving them extra rewards for doing it in ways that challenge them to think differently, that's awesome. That's really going to push them to do more of that, to have more of that gameplay where they come up with inventive solutions to problems that maybe they have multiple different ways that you could solve them reasonably, and your players find a very unreasonable way to do it. I don't know. I think that creativity is hard to reward almost sometimes, but you gotta find ways to do it, because it's easy to like from the player's perspective to have a stupid idea and think this is so creative. And I'm saying this like as somebody, you know, who has obviously been a player in a D&D game, right? Like I've had ideas that are dumb, that are not, you know, not good, not well suited to doing what our party wanted to do. Like, well, I'll come up with some examples another time. But I know I've had ideas that are not very good, that, you know, ostensibly they're creative, because who would think to cross this chasm by, actually that one's pretty obvious. I was going to say like holding onto each other's ankles and like just flopping across, but that one's actually kind of obvious. That didn't even take any effort to come up with. But you know, some like out there solution that is not reasonable, so nobody would come up with it. That's not the same thing as being creative, is it?
Yeah, I guess you're right, because that's not necessarily being creative. That's mostly just like
say that you're somewhere cold and you're like, all right, let's freeze all our weapons together so we can make a long pole and cross this chasm.
Yeah, like
no,
I don't know.
Like that's out there, yeah, but it's not really creative.
It's not creative, I think.
I guess.
Well,
is it?
Well, I mean,
is that creative? What is creative?
Well, it's not a creative color. That's for sure.
No, definitely not.
No. Okay. Well, first of all, I think that now I think yes, it is creative, because I think creativity kind of can mean almost anything.
Oh, is it just too nebulous to be a worthwhile concept?
I think it's just like the antithesis of like restrictiveness, maybe.
No, I feel like creativity, that's like imagination. Is it? Creativity is more like making something that has a purpose. Isn't it? Is it?
Okay.
Is
okay.
It? I don't know.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
This sounds like a semantic thing.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're just arguing about the definition of a word, but it's a gameplay aspect. It's in D&D.
Yes. It's a human thing.
Right.
Creativity. It's the human ability.
This is not a linguistic issue. This is that's for our other podcast, our math podcast.
I'm remembering now. Creativity, as far as I have always understood it, is the human ability to come up with something conceptually in their mind and then make it real.
Okay.
So that's what creativity is, in a nutshell.
So there is no creativity in D&D, only in LARPing.
No, because then you create something in your mind that then you becomes real in the game.
I guess that's true. Yeah.
So it becomes conceptually real. It's very meta, because you
what is real?
You conceptually come up with a solution to a conceptual problem.
Well, so I guess the thing that makes it creativity is that it starts in your head and it ends up somewhere else.
Right. And in this case, it ends up in the game, which is played mostly with imagination.
Right.
So you're right. Creativity and imagination are separate, because, okay. So yes. In which case, so I think that maybe what you're talking about with like the freezing the poles together and all of that, what makes that feel less creative is that, you come up with a concept and you execute it, but it kind of feels like now you don't have those weapons anymore.
Well, the real problem is that as you tried to climb across them, your hands would warm them up and they would
and they would melt. Like it wouldn't. It's not. It has flaws. It has a lot of flaws. Which
it was a pretty dumb example in general, but
I'm not coming down hard on you about it. I'm just saying, like, You said that you didn't feel like it was very creative, and I'm trying to explore why that might be.
Yeah.
Why does that not feel as creative as something else?
It's wild and wacky, but
yeah.
it's not. I mean, it's the same. If you had a 4-panel comic, and it was just 4 completely unrelated things with nothing to tie them together, that's less creative, I think, than a 4-panel comic that delivers on a punchline in 4 panels.
Sets up a joke and then delivers it. Yep. Yeah. I guess maybe the ability to like plan ahead, like the next step.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe what feels not as creative about it is, like you said, you freeze all the weapons together, you lay them down to climb across them, but you didn't think about what would happen if they melted or if it wasn't sturdy enough to actually get you across.
Mm-hmm.
I think like planning, creativity is something that like ultimately accomplishes the goal, but in a way that also accounts for other possibilities. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like more. Maybe something like that's more creative.
All right, here we go. It's Buddha time.
Okay, Buddha.
Who is the you that has a creative idea? No, that's not how they'd ask it. They would say, where is the you that has a creative idea?
Yeah, where's he at?
Where is the you that has the creative idea? Where is the I that has the creative idea? Right?
Yeah.
All right, so now that's a start, but that means that if there is no you or I, which you could argue with that,
mm-hmm.
but I don't care right now. I'm building off that as my argument.
Well, Descartes would say there is an I.
Where?
Well, I think, therefore I am. Maybe not. That
sounds like a tautology.
Maybe not physically, but anyway, that's a philosophy. That's probably the philosophical concept I got the most behind after learning all about it.
I have a different philosophical background.
Right.
So it's just is different
it's
for how we think of things. But anyway,
right.
So all right. If there is no you, who is well think about this then. Actually, even if there is a you, what is the action of having an idea? What are you doing to make that idea happen? You're not really doing anything, right? Like they just kind of come to you. Because here's what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I think that creativity might be not what people think it is at all. And here's why. Think about a rock band that you like.
Okay.
And then say their name out loud.
Dance Gavin Dance.
Dance Gavin Dance. Okay. Dance Gavin Dance's songs probably sound like Dance Gavin Dance's songs.
That's true.
They might sound what's that called? They might sound similar, I guess. That's not the right word, but it's close. They might sound related. No, they might sound a little bit like other songs as well.
Sometimes.
But I bet they mostly sound like they're Dance Gavin Dance's songs.
Yep.
And if you heard a new song by Dance Gavin Dance today, but didn't realize it was them, you would probably know it was a Dance Gavin Dance song, or at least say that this sounds like Dance Gavin Dance.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
I have ideas for songs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, Austin Human,
yeah,
who is hosting this podcast now.
Yes, very human, Austin.
Extremely.
And
let me tell you what, none of them have a particular theme to them. The ideas for songs that I have are all over the place. They don't belong to a single genre. They don't belong to a single tradition of music. Some stuff in my head comes out like Japanese Zen music, right? Like the shakuhachi pieces that are played with no meter, and you just kind of feel it. It's just meditation.
Right.
Some stuff comes out as an 80s rock ballad, like power ballad, right? So all of that stuff just happened. Like I don't make it happen either. It's like while I'm trying to do laundry or whatever, I get this song idea stuck in my head.
Well, okay, so we're delving into the territory of, I would say that we're almost dipping our toes into inspiration. Which is...
That's already a mechanic in D&D, though.
It is. It is. And the way it works in D&D may be similar to how it works in real life, depending on who you ask.
Well, all I'm saying though is who's actually creative? Me, who I guess I don't even finish the music, but let's say I did. Mm-hmm. Am I more creative for writing just random whatever comes into my head, or is Dance Gavin Dance more creative for having so many ideas within their genre, within their style? That's tricky to me. I've been thinking about that for a long time.
I don't know. Because now I'm wrestling with the thought that, is creativity even like, does it even exist on a scale? Can something be more creative than something else?
Uh-oh.
Is it like the word unique, where somebody can't be more unique than anybody else?
Yeah, they can.
No.
How do you know?
Because this was a question on my practice SAT from forever ago, and it's the only one I remember because I think it actually was the only one I got wrong, because it was a trick question, because it says what is the correct way to say like more, most, like is it unique or uniquest or more unique, and I picked one, and it was like, actually this is a trick question. You can't be more unique than anybody else. And I was like, wow, that is something that would be on the SATs, isn't it?
Yep.
But I was like, wow, like that never really crossed my mind, but it's true. And now I'm wondering, like, creativity is not the same kind of word as unique, but I'm thinking in a similar way to, like, is that possible? Because actually,
is creative, does it have a magnitude?
It's just so subjective. And unique is literally like one of the most subjective words that you can have.
Well, okay. I mean, creativity is subjective, maybe, or maybe it is objective. Like maybe creativity is literally just, it's the amount of combination of ideas that you make, like that kind of thing. I don't know how you can measure idea synthesis, but if you could measure ideas as little chunks of information, as like bits and bytes of information, and you had an AI calculate how many inputs you had and how many ended up in the output, would you be able to measure creativity then? You might be able to.
Maybe. I'm also thinking too, like, I'm almost thinking that creativity must be objective in some way, because there are some people who can, with their creativity, there are people who are on equal skill in the arts, whether that's practical arts or musical instruments or whatever, but have vastly different success in like more people want to experience their art, even if they have the same skill. And I think that the difference must be something like creativity. Like if you're just as good as guitar as somebody else, but they're more successful than you with their music.
So either you're just so much more, like they're just so much more attractive or whatever. The marketing's so much better.
Yeah.
Or they tap into a thing, a feeling maybe that a lot of people want at that time. Right? Like they feel something, they understand that there is a certain thing that people would want you to deliver as far as music goes, and they capitalize more on that in some way. But I feel like, it's got to be something.
And I guess what you're saying is true too, because there are plenty of artists that a lot of people would consider to be more creative but less successful. Because it's all about when people are going to appreciate it. Like if you think of Picasso, none of his art sold for any significant amount of money until after he was dead. People didn't appreciate his art until after he was dead. You
can fact check us on that. I'm not sure if it's true, but that has been true for other artists, so the point stands.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was Pablo Picasso because I just remember reading about his life in high school, and he died in like a gutter or something like that, homeless. He was like homeless for most of his life, and they found his artwork, I think like years later in an attic somewhere. And then it got really famous. And then people because people knew him, I mean, look at Jesus, they didn't write that book about him until well after he was dead. So anyway,
all right. So this is, I got to do a little rant to end this episode.
Yeah, please.
So this is the thing I've been thinking about a lot. I don't like it when someone tells me what I should like. I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I want to tell people what they should like.
Yeah, but you don't want other people to tell
I don't want other people to tell me what I should like.
Right.
All right. Yeah, no. This is my current inner conflict. And let's work it out on the show. This is my free therapy session for myself. Thank you all for being here, and
I'll be billing you after this.
I will. Oh, will you?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I would bill them after this, but that doesn't make any sense.
No, I will bill you.
No, so here's where the conflict is. I want to teach people. Let's leave the topic out of it for a minute.
Okay.
Let's just say I want to teach people. So I want to show them the right way to do something. However, I don't necessarily want to show them the best way to do it or the only way to do it or whatever. I just want to help them figure kind of stuff like that out for themselves. But what I don't like is when somebody tells me what I should like, as in which ways I should do things, what the best way is, that sort of thing. Which is weird because for things that are physical skills, I'm talking about parkour, I'm talking about
dance.
Yeah. I'm talking about
gymnastics.
Yeah. Also
golf.
Right. Yeah. But no, the one I was thinking of was
basketball.
Foil surfing.
Oh, yes. Foil surfing. Yep.
Yeah. So any of those physical skills, there are actual, if your objective is to get the basketball from your hand into the basket.
Basket.
She's just looking at us.
She's side-eyeing me right now.
She really is. Yep, she's too tired to move.
Yep.
She won't be in a little bit after this episode's over and it's time for her food. But anyway, she doesn't know that word, guys. It's all good.
Okay, we're good.
We'll never teach her that one. So when you're throwing the basketball into the hoop, which I used to be able to do left-handed, I don't know if I could do it still. There is a best way to do it on a particular shot. Like if you're here, you wanted your hand to do this. If it goes in the basket, it counts, right? So you have some leeway, but there is a technique that works better than other things. And I don't know how to make peace with that.
I don't know how to make peace with
because, all right, let's look at a different topic. I don't want someone to tell me what musicians I should like. These are the best top whatever musicians. I don't want somebody to tell me what skateboarders I should like. These are the top 5 skateboarders. like I'll listen to your list of top 5 skateboarders because I want to see all the interesting things that these people do. But I don't want you to tell me what tricks are the coolest tricks. Like that's not okay with me if you're telling me that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to tell you what are the coolest tricks.
But I know what the coolest tricks are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of how it feels. Like, it's not true. I don't actually want to, like, so I want to teach martial arts, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
That's more realistic for my life.
Right.
I don't want anybody to tell me what the most effective martial arts techniques are, or the coolest martial arts techniques, or whatever.
Right.
Like, this is something that you figure out for yourself.
Yeah.
But I do want to tell people that. But not really. That's not true. It's just that's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like.
When I'm going to, like, come up with an idea for what to teach. Like, I feel like what I'm doing is just the same thing as what I don't like it when somebody else does it to me.
Well, I think, okay, the difference is the approach. Because I know how you feel, and I feel the same way.
Uh-huh.
I'm
oh, that's not what you meant? Oh, shoot.
I'm
okay.
I've been meaning to tell you this for a while. I know you're married, but
is this a Hallmark movie, Alice?
Yeah, I really want.
Are you a prince?
To share your social security number with me. So, okay. So I think that the difference is because it's not like these are the best. I've framed my way of thinking to, these are my favorite. Because, and like, it really helps me kind of like, anytime somebody talks to me like, oh, this is the best band in the world,
mm-hmm.
I just automatically in my brain reframe that to be, that's their favorite band. They really like that band.
Yeah.
And if they try to tell me that they're the best band in the world, at this point, I don't even like argue with anybody about that anymore. Well, I might still sometimes.
I certainly wouldn't argue that somebody is not the best band in the world, because who am I to judge?
Right. Well, okay. That's true too. But even if somebody's like, you'll love this band,
mm-hmm.
No, you're right. Because if somebody says that to me,
mm-hmm.
like, you'll love this band, I don't like people telling me what to do.
Yeah, I don't like them telling me what to like.
I don't like people telling me what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that too.
And I'm like really stubborn about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's the other thing. You know what though? No, because I know exactly what you're talking about, because I've had this experience several times. I had a friend, I told them that I don't like mushrooms, and they were like, oh, but mushrooms are so good. Oh man, you know what? I'm going to find some mushrooms that you'll love. And like my instinct immediately, when they were
no, I don't not like mushrooms anymore. Now I hate them.
Yes. Now I hate them. Now mushrooms are the bane of my existence. And I'll I'll barf out any mushrooms that I accidentally eat, even if I maybe enjoyed them while I was eating them. That was my reaction to that,
Yeah. So, even if I find out days later, I will go back and barf those out.
I will invent time travel. Yeah, exactly. So like, it's funny. I didn't realize you were like that too.
Yeah.
So the way that I try to approach,
I think what you were saying was really good. Saying like, this is my favorite band. Saying,
yeah,
this is how I practice for whatever this is. This is what I do.
Right.
And I've really liked this method because here's what it does. That's really good.
Exactly. Sharing what you like or what you enjoy about it to other people that's more likely to open them up to be like, oh, maybe I should try that, or
mm-hmm.
Maybe that would be good. Because I feel like if it was approached in a way that was like, oh, I really like these mushrooms because they taste this way, mm-hmm. and they go really good with this, that might not have convinced me to do it, but mm-hmm. it definitely wouldn't have stonewalled my brain to be like, now I'll never do it.
Mm-hmm.
It would keep me open to it. In fact, it might even give me a positive enough association with the concept of mushrooms that like down the line I might even
you might hear, you might be like, oh, hey, that's supposed to be good with mushrooms.
Right, exactly. And then I might just do it.
It's like Inception.
Just try it. Yeah. It's like, you guys know that movie? Oh man.
Yeah.
It's just like that. So that's how I approach people.
Yeah.
with those kinds of things.
Yeah.
All right, that'll be, how much do people charge for therapy? Like $500 for a session or something? Your insurance might pay for it. I don't know.
Mine probably wouldn't.
Or like half of it.
No.
Like,
I think I get one doctor visit a year, and that's all my insurance covers.
That's pretty low.
I don't know. I'll have to look. I think that's all my insurance covers. It's like nothing. It's like nothing special. It's pretty expensive for how little it does.
Yeah, right. That's called having insurance.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is to say, it's extremely expensive for doing nothing.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah. But luckily, if I break my arm or leg or something, it only costs me a couple $100 to get it repaired instead of
a couple thousand.
Well, instead of
more than a couple thousand, probably.
How much does it actually cost to like get a cast and have your arm? Like if it's a clean break. I mean, I'm not talking surgery.
Yeah. I actually don't know. I actually have no idea.
What do you think, Basket?
I have several medical professionals I could ask, but they probably don't know either, because people who work in the hospital don't know what it costs.
Right.
To do all that stuff.
Yeah.
If they're the medical professionals. Like there's somebody at the hospital obviously knows how much all that costs, because somebody decides that stuff, which is kind of weird to think about.
But is it creative to think about?
Yeah.
It is. We figured it out.
That's what creativity is.
It's thinking about, what do those people do at the hospital?
Yeah, what do those people do at the hospital?
What do those people do?
Yeah.
Who are those people? And what do they do at the hospital?
What do you think? Is it like D100 times the 1,000 for the dollars when they decide how much something should cost? No, because things can be a lot more expensive than that.
Yeah.
Though usually it's an accumulated cost from like several things.
That's exactly it. I think after each thing there's a saving throw.
Okay.
So each item causes a saving throw.
And then okay. Maybe the whole world should just run like that. Like it's all just dice rolls.
It's all just dice rolls to the side of it.
Who's going to be president? All right. Well, let's roll the D100.
So there is, what's that called? A Lottocracy. Have you heard of this concept?
I can understand how it works just based on what it's called.
Yep. That context was probably enough. Yeah. The idea behind a Lottocracy is that on average, people would be pretty decent at being president. So if you just actually pick randomly, you're pretty good.
How long are they in office for? Well, I guess it depends on the Lottocracy, but
right, yeah.
What do you think would be an ideal amount of time for? Because you don't want it to be too long, because then if you get a really bad one, they can do a lot of damage. But if it's not long enough,
they won't even be able to get their bearings, right? Yeah, like they won't even figure out what's going on.
Then a good one won't be able to get anything done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the right amount of time? A year and a half?
I would say maybe. Let's say like let's say this, a year and a half, and at that point we can say we want another one.
Yeah.
You know, like we vote again, and it's just a yes no, like keep this president or next.
Oh man, I actually really like this idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's not like actually a good idea, but I like the idea of it.
I like the idea of this idea too.
Yeah. I like the idea of the idea. That sounds so much fun to like make a show about or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're picked randomly, and then you can vote on whether or not you want to keep them in office. Yeah, that's great.
And really, like, I mean, think about how good of a president somebody actually has to be in that case in order to stay in office for more than a year and a half.
Right.
Because even like any recent president, you can find all sorts of approval polls where their ratings drop way below 50%.
Yeah, well, because most of the things that a president does in their term aren't like, most of those things aren't really, the effects of them aren't really felt until years later.
Mm-hmm.
So like, so like the good presidents, sometimes are voted out really quickly, and then the presidents after them get all this praise from things going really well.
Mm-hmm.
But and then the president after them, or them if they get voted back in, anyway, that makes sense to me.
Now it would be pretty interesting to be in that situation of like, hey, it's your turn and you are the president now. Yeah. Right? Like, well, that would take some real, you know what, a year and a half might be too long before the yes no vote out thing.
Yeah,
by the way,
maybe more like 6 months.
I was gonna say 60 days.
60 days, yeah.
Yeah, like when they, you know, when they're sworn in, they like get started, and then a little while later, everyone's like yes no, and if it's yes, then you just keep them in, and if it's no, what would be the threshold to vote someone out? I feel like it would just every time it would happen, and I think everyone would get voted out if it's even, well, if it's 50%, everyone would get voted out.
I don't know because I don't think 60 days is enough time for people. I feel like everybody would get voted out after 60 days because that's not enough time to
even know what you can do as a president.
Yeah, or
prove yourself
that you're good enough, you know. Especially since nobody voted for you in the first place.
Anybody who gets in there, I would be pretty skeptical of anybody who gets in there and is like ready to go before 60 days.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I got this plan, man.
It's like,
I'd be like, where'd you come up with this plan? Where have you been testing these ideas of yours, huh?
Right.
Like, show me some proof of this. I don't know.
And then they wouldn't show results yet.
No.
Like, nothing. Yeah. That's why I'm saying 6 months. But even then, that's like really not enough time.
No. We're going to have to really like mess with the balancing on this idea.
Yeah.
But once we got something concrete, we'll make sure to share it with you guys.
Yep.
Because we're gonna overhaul the government in our next D&D supplement, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Right, the entire government of D&D.
Yeah, you can. I meant the U.S. government.
Yes, that too.
So back our Kickstarter. One of the stretch goals is that I get to be a senator.
I get to be a senator with enough money.
Right, I can make it happen. So let's pledge to that Kickstarter. We can do this. I'll have to come up with some kind of slogan.
I like to eat.
Bro, that's so good.
That's my campaign.
Who doesn't like that?
Food on the table.
Oh, shoot, there are people who don't like that. I'm so insensitive.
Oh, that's true.
I'm so insensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
Are there people who don't like to eat? I mean, I guess if it's painful for you to eat, then yeah, you wouldn't like it. Mm-hmm. Or if all you can eat is like, because I know there are people who are on like strictly liquid diets like for the rest of their life because of muscular problems. I'll just say muscular problems.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe eating the same liquid mixture of micro and macronutrients every day is not pleasurable. So yeah, I guess there are probably people who don't like to eat. Let's make a country where everyone likes to eat.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's make this a world where we can all enjoy eating. What do you think? That's a good platform.
Yeah, that's a good platform. I was thinking a platform where you like really stand for making something legal that already is, because people might not know. We need to make sure that in this country, every person can blink with both eyelids at the same time.
Let's legalize sunglasses while driving.
Right. Legalize. Like, this is ridiculous. We need to legalize sunglasses while driving.
Listen, if you're driving to work every day into the rising sun, and you're driving home every day into the setting sun, you know it would be great on your face that we need to legalize today?
Sunglasses.
Sponsored by
Ray-Bans.
Link in the description. That's our that's a little sponsor segment we've been working on. I hope you guys really dig that.
Yeah.
Buy those sunglasses down in the description. They're down there under the table in the description.
Yeah. Find you might need to look, you might need to pat around for a second before you like Velma, because you don't have your sunglasses, so you can't see very well. Have I ever mentioned on the show that that's my favorite? One of my favorite Scooby-Doo things. It was Scooby-Doo and Johnny Bravo crossover episode, and Velma and Johnny like bump into each other, and both their glasses fly off in opposite directions. And Velma's like, "My glasses! I can't see without my glasses." And then Johnny Bravo says, "My glasses! I can't be seen without my glasses." That's one of my favorite jokes. And then they switch and like they. Anyway,
good night, everyone.
I hope you guys had fun in this episode. I know I did.